A new report here, closer to home for us, shows just how vulnerable Tampa is when it comes to rain. The rainy season almost here.
We know all about it. City leaders telling us they were ready for this and are making improvements already.
Yeah, 10 Tampa Bay's Jenny Dean live in Tampa right now with more on the report. And Jenny, hurricane season less than 2 months out, but that's not all we need to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Jameson and Caitlin. You know, it's rain in general. Excessive rain is the problem. There are so many neighborhoods that aren't even near the water that will flood, because even neighborhoods that have those pump stations right next to them, they can't handle significant rainfall. And so there's work being done all across Tampa Bay at a bunch of different pump stations. And one in particular is in the Tampa Overlook neighborhood. And it's all because of this newly released 200-page vulnerability report. It highlighted the flooding concerns across the city, which, you know, that wasn't really the surprise to Mayor Castor and other city leaders. They've been seeing reports like this for years, and they're doing as much as they can now to focus on the areas that need it most by improving those pumping stations where the natural water runoff, it just isn't happening.
The construction is underway to upgrade and lift the pumps so that in an event where we have a heavy rain event and the ponds start to overtake the pumping station, those pumps will be lifted up above.
I'm glad they're finally taking care of that so we can breathe easily.
Yeah, and that woman, you know, saw some flooding in her neighborhood where she said the street looked like a river. So she's certainly glad to see improvements happening. And that's, you know, really just talking about inland flooding. We know there is a real problem with areas that are coastal areas, all areas along the water that are definitely threatened by sea level rise type flooding. We're talking places like Bayshore Boulevard, Palmetto Beach, and Port Tampa Bay. So all of those areas certainly threatened by that. And it is something that we definitely need to consider, guys.
Yeah, but Jenny, there are some notorious spots around the area, but then with Hurricane Milton and Helene, we saw flooding in areas that just don't typically get it. So how often does the city get these vulnerability reports?
Yeah, they get them every 5 years, but you know the city is watching this every year. Of course, they study each hurricane season to see what they can do better, but these particular vulnerability reports, they are paid for by the state and they get done religiously. And it's important to remember, though, like we said in the beginning, it is not just hurricanes that are causing these issues. When we have these excessive rain events, I know there was one last year that inundated South Tampa, that is when we really need to make sure that we can drain off that excess water. And right now, that's just not happening. Live in Tampa, Jenny Dean, 10 Tampa Bay.
Jenny, thank you.